Jake, I didn't think I was ever going to witness a debate as devastating as the one that you and Dana moderated back in June, where Joe Biden basically tanked his reelection campaign. I think tonight was just as devastating. I think that Kamala Harris pitched a shutout. On almost every subject I can think of. She shut Trump down on abortion. She shut Trump down on January 6th and democracy. She shut him down on national security and turned to the former president and said, the military leaders who served with you think that you're a disgrace. And then, as Dana mentioned, very powerfully at the end made the point that she is the candidate of change. We need to turn the page from a decade of division and polarization. On substance, I think she pitched a shutout, and I think she did on style as well. I mean, the image of the debate to me is she's there happy, smiling, expressive, shaking her head in dismay at things Trump was saying. And Trump looked angry, scowling. She was looking directly at the audience. He was looking at the moderators and arguing with them. And something else.
And
Donald Trump looked old tonight.
Yeah.
And you know, somebody said on my show on Saturday, she wins just by showing up. I didn't know that was going to be true. I think it was. Yeah. She was the candidate of change just from the moment the two of them were on the stage.
To everything that she said.
Well, what you saw really was
under control.
Vice President Kamala Harris prosecuting this debate with surgical precision. She was aware, as she must have been as a prosecutor, that the second you were inside of a courtroom, the jury is looking at everything you're doing. Muted microphones, doesn't matter. Her nonverbal cues, her body language, her incredulous expressions, at one point putting her hand under her chin to demonstrate that she was completely baffled by his line of defense. Losing a battle of expert witnesses you're talking about national security advisors, talking about Nobel laureates, talking about the whole litany of people who do not buy what he's selling. Also very well trained and seasoned and knowing how to grapple with somebody who is going to possibly be bombastic, petulant, defensive, and have a derailed effort. She focused on all of those things. I saw somebody who, when she came out, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Kamala Harris. On behalf of Kamala Harris, she came out with that in mind, and I think she executed. Now, Donald Trump tried to derail her a number of times, but notice I'm saying the words Donald Trump in the way she did. It wasn't President Trump. She was referring to him as similar as you would in a courtroom, the defendant, under his title, reminding you of how did she phrase it? What he left us with. It was a really dynamite performance.
So, Anderson, I mean, his lack of parrying, his lack of making Kamala Harris and the Biden-Harris record the focus. I mean, if you watched this debate and you didn't know that she was the incumbent vice president, you saw a debate where Donald Trump was really on defense, and he and his record were the subject of the debate, not the incumbent leader.
Kamala Harris did tonight what no governor, senator, politician, business person who has run against him in primaries in 2016 and certainly anything he faced in 2020, has figured out what no one else figured out how to do. Certainly Marco Rubio didn't figure it out by going after little hands. He debased himself, as many have. I want to show just some key moments where she needled Donald Trump on the most sort of obvious, basic things that we all know he has said, we all know are weak points, to devastating effect. Let's just take a look.
Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. If you want to really know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him.
John King, it was the moment she talked about his crowd size of all things, and people, not even was crowd size, it was people being bored and leaving his rallies early. I don't think he ever recovered from that. He started shouting, and he never stopped.
She triggered him there. I think she was uneven at the top. Not a bad answer, first answer in the economy, but not a great answer. She got her footing during the abortion conversation, where she felt more comfortable, and then she triggered him with the people leave your rallies. And he lost it. And he was angry. From that moment on, his voice went up. He started angering. He told a lot of lies. Daniel Dale's going to be up all night. We should start a GoFundMe for his espresso machine. He did. And so what did she do? She triggered him on COVID, January 6th and democracy, abortion, chaos, lies, and his anger. What are those? Those are the issues that turned the American suburbs away from Donald Trump and why he lost the 2020 election. Those are the voters who were waiting to see if she could stand there and be a plausible president next to him. She cleared that bar. That doesn't mean she won their votes, but she cleared that bar with 8 weeks left in the election. She stood next to a former president, and she more than held her own. And on many of the issues, she schooled him. She simply schooled him because she triggered him into his lies and into his anger, which does not sell well with the middle of the electorate that will decide things 8 weeks from tonight.
You know, I've been involved in a lot of these. I helped prepare a candidate for these debates, 6 of them. And I've been watching them since I was a little boy. I've scarcely seen a one like this, and the degree to which she dominated this. And, you know, part of it was butt kicking, and part of it was kind of someone doing it themselves in. I said earlier, jokingly, that, you know, when they said he's Muhammad Ali in the debates, that, you know, their fear has to be that he knocks himself out. He kind of helped, but she set him up, as John said. But these things are more than about issues. These things are tests. These campaigns, these debates, they're oral exams for the hardest job on the planet. Sure. And people judge you in these moments, and they judge whether you have the mettle to stand up to that pressure, to be coherent, to deliver a case. And she certainly did that tonight.
Van?
She whooped him. She just whooped him. And I think that there's been a desire, you know, in good fiction, there's like wish fulfillment. Like, you know, you watch a movie because you want something to happen, like some great romance. People have wanted to see somebody put this bully in his place. And people have watched contender after contender fail to put him in his place. She got up there and she put him in his place. She baited him, and then she spanked him. She baited him, and then she spanked him. And not only did she pass the commander-in-chief test, he failed it. He failed it. Do you want this guy dealing with a dictator when he can literally just be, I mean, you could see the punches coming. He couldn't get out of the way.
I mean, if you can so unhinge somebody by saying people leave your rally, any world leader can manipulate you into anything.
So I think that she passed the test. He failed it. But I think also she was speaking for the people. She really was speaking for the people. I think the right wing may not see it, but she kept coming back to a middle-class background. He kept talking about himself and himself. He went down every rabbit hole imaginable. Kamala Harris did something great for every parent in America. She put the bully in his place. Audie?
Yeah, I can't add more to what you guys have said using political terms such as butt whooping. But Harris hacked Donald Trump tonight. And we talked earlier, I mentioned, you know, being unconventional, which he has been all these years, doesn't mean he's unpredictable. And it turned out she could use a Mad Libs of triggers of everything he's ever talked about or been bothered by and use them in a formula that was to first talk about an attack line he might have said to her, take a topic she was weak on, and follow it up with a trigger for him, and then watch him spin himself in circles trying to defend it. And at the start of this conversation, at the start of the night, we talked about who's going to look like an incumbent versus who's going to look like a challenger. And I think she made herself look like the challenger to a person and really kind of ran through his record.